Deputy Permanent Representative of Cuba, and I now give the floor to the Russian Federation.
The Russian Federation has the floor.
President, we welcome the convening of today's meeting of the General Assembly on the implementation of resolutions of the UN and revitalization of the work of the UN General Assembly. We'd like to congratulate the permanent representatives of Jordan and Slovakia on their appointment to co-chair the working group. We note the work of the previous co-chairs, permanent representatives of Croatia and Colombia, during the 72nd session. Negotiations which ultimately led to the approval by the General Assembly on the 17th of September, the resolution 72313, were complicated. Again, they demonstrated that success in revitalization of the GA's work, which is a shared duty of all member states, will be only possible when this process enjoys full consensus-based support. A clear understanding of this allowed us to come out with a balanced text. The readiness of states to listen to each other will determine also the results of the upcoming negotiations round. The Russian delegation is ready to continue to constructively participate in efforts to revitalise the General Assembly. At the same time, they must be depoliticized in nature and focused primarily on increasing the effectiveness of this body. This objective will be possible through further refining of the working methods and streamlining the still overburdened agenda. For example, we need to continue work on moving some items of the General Assembly agenda to a biennial or triennial basis and removing some outdated ones. We support the initiative to lighten the load of the high-level week during the general debate. When in New York, heads of state and government and also foreign affairs ministries have already got a tight schedule. It would be expedient to limit over this period the number of high-level events. They could be spread out equally across the whole period of the session's work. At the same time, it is no less important that such changes take into account the interests of all member states. We also believe that any initiatives should be based on unwavering compliance with a system for allocation of prerogatives between the main bodies of the UN, as enshrined in the UN Charter. Often, the Security Council is criticised for infringing on the authority of other bodies of the UN, and we share this concern. Our colleagues at the Security Council know full well that we are cautious in considering thematic topics at the Security Council, and recently, and no fault of ours, there are more and more of them. In this connection, again, we would call on all of those who generate these initiatives to square this up with what the Council really can achieve on these topics. The criteria for it being important or not of one particular topic should not be stop its discussion or not discussion at the Security Council. This is not the correct approach. President, in recent years, a lot of attention has been paid to the issue of increasing transparency and democracy of the processes for selection and election of a Secretary General. We are ready to continue the work on a sensible optimization of the existing process. At the same time, we believe that these ideas in this area required painstaking study. Firstly, fully in line with the UN Charter, first and foremost, under which the Secretary General is appointed by the General Assembly on the Security Council's recommendation. We should not forget either that the main task is to select a Secretary General the most suitable candidate for this position. Efforts to superfluous codification of this procedure are fraught with undesirable consequences. Now, on the issues of fulfilling General Assembly resolutions. Here the issue, it would appear, is not only the deficit of political will. One of the most important factors is how feasible these decisions are to implement. rather than proposing various projects and drafts, it's important to ask a question before doing so. How workable are they if they're approved? We'd call on all to not to restrain from having rushed initiatives that could lead to a divide in the UN. There is no doubt that the resolutions that are adopted by the overwhelming majority of votes, and ideally by consensus, have a higher chance of being rolled out. Certainly. For this, we need to work on this through diplomacy and readiness to compromise. Unfortunately, the last year has shown that not everyone shares this sober approach. Therefore, there's little point in expecting resolutions that are focused on dubious and short-term gains to be implemented. We wish every success to the co-chairs of the Working Group on Revitalization and are ready to work closely with them. Thank you for your attention.
I thank the Deputy Permanent Representative of the Russian Federation